Hey everyone, Varric here. So today's video is going to be on Heroic Ji-Kun. Now more than likely this will be your second Heroic boss that you attempt. The reason being is this boss is exactly the same on Heroic than it is on normal, except for two small differences. The first being is instead of having just one nest team, you're going to end up having two nest teams. And probably the biggest learning curve for this fight is going to be the people that have never done a nest team before. If you've been on a nest team, this fight behaves exactly the same way, except for the second small difference, which is on certain nests. In this case, it will be the even number nest on 10-man. Is the 2nd, 4th, 8th, 10th, and 12th nests will spawn an added mob called a nest guardian. And this nest guardian has to be tanked. Otherwise, it will just chew your healers and DPS. So it's also important that your tanks pay attention to their nest assignments, and pay attention to the timers when it's time to fly up to these even numbered nests. If you've been on a nest team before, or you're on the odd number nests, again, this is going to be the same exact fight for you than normal on Heroic. You're really not going to have to make any adjustments. The only small adjustment you might have to make is when you get the wings from the lower nests. Instead of having 4 charges, you're only going to have 3 charges. So you're not going to be able to grab probably as many nutrients buffs, at least later in the fight, because you're going to have all your charges for your wings the way the nests are going to behave later on. But really, that's pretty much it. Now, if you're on the even numbered nests, it's extremely important that your tank get up there first to grab the nest guardian. Otherwise, it will just immediately start attacking your DPS or your healer, and they probably won't survive a hit at all. It does that much damage. They will again have to the tanks, will end up having to alternate the tanking so that they can make sure they make it up there to every nest that needs to be tanked for the nest guardian. The only other real big danger that I would say is the added damage for quills. The damage ramp up from normal to Heroic on this particular ability is massive. In fact, if you're not getting focused healed during this ability and you don't mitigate this damage somehow, there's a good chance you're going to die. It's that bad. So I definitely highly recommend taking Crouching Tiger, Hidden Chimera for this fight, because you definitely want Deterrence off cooldown every time this ability goes off. That does mean you won't have the speed boost from post haste, but more than likely you're not going to be dealing with downdraft probably more than 2, possibly 3 times during the entire fight. Just keep an eye out on the timers. If downdraft is coming up, just either try to get as close to the boss as you can to keep from getting blown off, or if you're lucky enough, you can get close enough to one of your druids and they can pop Stampeding Roar to keep you from getting blown off. But by far, Quills is the most dangerous of the two. So just like on normal mode, when he starts to cast Quills, just pop Deterrence, let it eat at least the first 5 seconds or so, and then either pop a Hellstone at the end, and that should save your healers a little bit of mana and take a little bit of the pressure off. But again, that's pretty much the same. The fight's exactly the same thing. If you can, and you do have the feathers for it, grab the nutrient buff. Pay attention to the timers. If you're on the even number nest, make sure your tank's up there first to grab the nest guardian, and then just proceed as normal. Now, depending on your raid DPS, obviously you might have to deal with more nests than normal. Probably your first couple of attempts, you're going to be working on your 10th or probably maybe even the 11th nest, just depending. But just like on normal, once Ji-Kun gets around 25-ish%, you just want to focus the boss and then ignore the nest at that point. But yeah, just stay out of the green goo. Watch out for Caw, because it does a lot of damage as well. Watch out for the downdraft and Quills timer. And that's pretty much it. Again, it's almost the exact same fight as normal. Once you've killed this boss, the first time, it's highly repeatable. There's really no reason you should never just one-shot this once you've killed it the first time. So again, I highly recommend taking this as your second Heroic boss. But that's pretty much it. Hopefully the video was helpful. If you have any questions, concerns, or complaints, just leave them down in the comments below, and I'll be more than happy to answer. But as always, I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you later.